Hello, it's Nikki. I want to share something with you today, which I have discussed with my parents. And that was, Dad, if you'd been, say, a rock star, Mick Jagger, Mum, if you'd been a supermodel, Jerry Hall, and I was like the child of those people, this kind of career and navigating my personal brand would have been so much easier because I would have had connections. I would, like, my mum would have known somebody at Vogue and brought me in, etc. All jokes aside, like, my parents are very lovely in their own right. But I wanted to have a conversation about this today and to take you back to 2004. I lived in Dulwich at the time in Enid Blyton's flat, very bizarrely. It was a beautiful flat. It's still there. I'm not going to give out the address, but I really enjoyed living there. I think I lived there for about 5 years. And I suddenly had this realization because this was all quite sort of pre internet and YouTube and the digital world really being a thing. I think it was one of those things at the time we were like, oh, there's this kind of thing called emails and the internet, but we were still very much on our Nokias, those big heavy phones. We were very much faxing things and scanning things in and then printing them out and then taking those and delivering them. We weren't emailing, we weren't Snapchatting, we definitely weren't TikToking. But I had this realization. It was probably like a Thursday afternoon or something like that. And sometimes I used to work this shift in Oxford Street, and it was a 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Shift. And it was quite hardcore being on a bus at 5 a.m. Not because, I mean, actually, now doing that, it would be fine. But in my 20s, I was mainly hungover, and I kind of thought that everything was a sacrifice. I was just in that bubble of wanting to have more and more sleep. Anyway, this realization came where it was like a voice said it to me, or I suddenly had this thought of Steven Spielberg doesn't have my number. And this won't come as any surprise to you, and it didn't to me. It was like the most obvious thing, but yet it took me a minute to fully recognize what that meant. And at that time, because of, I guess, the lack of digital, I really felt like there was this world over there that I was trying to get into, and then I was over here not knowing anything at all. So I really felt that kind of like peeking over the fence type situation. But realizing that nobody was coming for me, or nobody was going to just give me a leg up, or I couldn't just wait for a talent show to spot me out of the blue, it made me much more specific and strategic. And it made me flip these things around and going, okay, so if he doesn't know my landline, and Steven Spielberg is a kind of random example, I hope you understand, how can I call him? How can I put myself out there in that way? And how can I bridge that gap and make that connection closer? And I want you to think about this in terms of your business. Like, you might have written on your vision board, I've got mine here, say you want to be featured in Red Magazine, for example, or you want to work for the BBC, or you want to be featured on so-and-so's podcast. Do you know what that route looks like in order to actually make that happen? And it may be something as simple as you just emailing them like, hi, I want to be on your podcast. Great, lovely. And the deal is done. The date is booked in the diary, and off we go. But it might be a longer game. It might be you showing up consistently, effortlessly, like, hi, sure, yeah, I just arrived. and you being in this for a long time. And certainly I found that in the beginning with casting directors. You know, I just left drama school, and in the beginning they just want to get you in and just sort of see what you're doing, see what you're all about. And sometimes it takes a while for you to meet somebody again and again and again, and then you get penciled, then you get a recall, then you hear nothing, and then you go in again and then you're not right. And it's a real dance that you work within, and eventually you get that job, you get that opportunity. So 2 bits of homework. The first is get really specific on what those goals are. So if it is Red Magazine, what would be the ideal situation in there? Like, how would you be showing up? How could you really show up in the best full-bodied version of yourself? And secondly, plot how you could actually do that. And I don't think you have to be able to know exactly what the timeline looks immediately, but certainly add a playful sense to it. Like, how can I make this really fun? Or who would I need to meet? Or what kind of situation would this look like? So how can you make it really fun? And also, just say, you might do this in the most strategic, beautiful, step-by-step way, but you might be surprised. Once you put it out there, another opportunity or a different way round, like a bouncer kind of going, no, you don't have to go around the front, don't queue, come here, I'll open the back door. That might very well happen as well. So yeah, there might be a bit of magic in there as well, where suddenly an opportunity comes, you meet somebody in the street, somebody gives you a leg up. All of that might happen, but you've got to meet it halfway. You've got to get excited, you've got to get specific, and then move closer to what it is that you want. Anyway, I would love to hear from you. What are you working on? What do you need help with? Is your messaging really clear? Do you know what you're saying? How are you consistently showing up? And if you don't know the answers to any of those questions, you need to join my Speak Up program. For the month of May, there are a handful of free sessions with me. I can give you my time, I can give you my expert eye, I can give you my knowledge and my experience, and I can steer you in the right direction with some really powerful coaching tools as well. So have a look at that page, the link is down below. Also get in touch very quickly, because once those sessions are gone, they are absolutely gone. It's only for the month of May, and also because there's only one of me. Once my diary is full, it's full, and I'm not doing sessions at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just wouldn't be giving you my best self. So take a look. Don't feel like you have to hide, especially in this time. We need what you have to offer more than ever. But it is about doing it with integrity. It is about doing it in a way that feels really good to you. So do check out that link, get in touch, and I will see you very soon. Bye.